Do not go with your gut, especially when it comes to placing residents in your asset, your single family residence, your multi-unit, your investment. If you go with your gut, you can be sued, especially in San Diego County's super resident friendly society. So it is careful that when you have a vacancy and you begin showing the property to have a written procedure and that you go with it every step of the way. Don't go within your gut. Go with your written procedure because you do not want to be stuck footing the bill. What you're going to be looking for. Number one, anybody over the age of 18 must apply. 0 exceptions. I don't care if they're a stay-at-home mom. I don't care if they're disabled. I don't care whatever their sob story is. Anybody over the age of 18, even if they're a non-US citizen, must apply. What you do for one person, you do for all. Fair Housing 101, right? So they're going to apply. And then anybody under the age of 18 will be considered an occupant. 2, you want to make sure that they make at least 2 to 3 times the amount of rent. At Beyond Property Management, we do 3 times the amount of rent because I want to make sure that these residents have extra disposable income for those what-if expenses. They have their car registration. They need to get new tires on their car. Whatever their expenses that they weren't expecting or budgeting for, you need to make sure that they could still pay the rent because they had to pay X, Y, and Z. So 3 times the amount of rent. So if the rental property is $3,000, they need to bring in $9,000 of net, not gross, but net. So you want to look at the last 2 months of bank statements and see, okay, yes, Sarah Joe brings in $5,000 per paycheck, and I can see that going in her bank because I have her bank statements, or I could see it, from her employer and her pay stubs. And you want to collect everybody's if they have extra, 401ks. More information that you have on said prospect, the better for you. So you're going to want your 2 months of pay stubs, confirm yes. You want to speak to their employer to make sure, yes, they do make $10,000 a month. You want to make sure that the phone number that they provided is a real phone number and it is connected to Qualcomm versus their neighbor Bob next door who's pretending to be a Qualcomm employee. So, let's check on Google, confirm that yes, this is a legitimate phone number. You want to make sure that their FICO score, when you run it, you could do it through the apartment association. You can do it through the San Diego Association. There's a lot of places where you can get your credit run, or Transamerica or Experian, and you want to check their credit score. So maybe 680 or above is passing. And so if they, when you are looking at your passing score, if it is 680 or above, you want to say, okay, that's fine, you pass. But you want to probably take the average of all the applicants and not just say, I approve 680, but I don't approve the other person that has 600. I would take the average and go 640. Well, maybe they don't approve because your average is 680, not 640. Also, when you are looking at their credit, some people might have student loans or medical. I wouldn't actually ding that person as much if they haven't paid that versus if they haven't paid their credit card statements, their mortgage payments, their car payments, or if they're running up credit card debt, to Sears or Victoria's Secret. That's not the person because they can't control their expenses. They can't even pay on time. So making sure that you have your written criteria. If you do have different, one-offs that you do approve. What if somebody's not a U.S. citizen and they apply and they have an NA, which is, not available? So what is your criteria of that? What do you do? Do you give them a 650 automatically because they don't have anything negative? You can't run anything. So what is your written criteria? In addition to that, you want to be doing credit check, do criminal, but be very, very careful because we're in California. We can run criminal applications, but we can't discriminate if they're criminal. So it might not be in your best policy because you know how you are to not do the criminal. So just be very careful on what you're doing there. Bankruptcy. What is your bankruptcy criteria? If they have an open policy, they could always not pay rent, move right in, and then, attach their non-payment to you and say, hey, we were an idiot for renting the property out to me. And as a result, I'm just going to take advantage of you because I'm not a good person. And I'm going to add this to my bankruptcy file. So obviously you don't want to have any open bankruptcies in place. Maybe you'll accept somebody if they've had it 5 years in the past or maybe 10 years in the past. So make sure you talk about the bankruptcy and have that written down, what your policy is. Judgments. Do they have a judgment? We don't allow anybody in the property to move in if there's a judgment, right? Especially if it's from KTS, which is Kimball, Tyree, and St. John. Most likely it's another landlord, a past landlord, and they haven't, paid their past due balance or left the house in shambles. So the other part you want to be careful about is talking to their references, right? So you want to call not only their past landlord, but their current landlord too. Maybe their current landlord just wants them out of the property. They just want them gone, so they're just going to give them a glowing referral, right? So it might be a little bit more difficult to you to see, hey, how did it work with them? Ask for their current tenant ledger, right? That is, to me, the easiest thing to do. A current tenant ledger shows how they paid rent on time. Do they have any outstanding bills? Obviously, they're still living in the property, so you don't know what the turnover and everything like that. You still don't probably know if there's a nuisance. Unfortunately, there's no real way to check that out. But, having a current tenant ledger, making sure that you do get written verification that, yes, they paid on time. Yes, I would re-rent to them again. Most companies will not do it over the phone because they're afraid of being sued. So they would want a written approval. So basically a part of the application that says, I, Sarah Joe, will allow Beyond Property Management to call said past landlords, check my credit, do XYZ, and I give the permission with a wet signature and sign, right? And so okay, here, current landlord, this is Sarah Joe giving me permission to, get information from you on how are they as a current resident. So you really want to carefully screen the resident and make sure what you do for one person, you do for all. At Beyond Property Management, we go further. We make sure that we screen their driver's license. So you want to make sure their driver's license match their actual name on the application. We make sure that this is not a fraudulent application for a driver's license or ID. We have a company that also makes sure that, hey, these are actually legitimate Qualcomm pay stubs, not something that you get on Google. That's peace of mind. But my favorite part is we go through a company, it's either Stripe or Plaid, it could be either or, but it goes into their bank account. So when they're applying, they log into Wells Fargo, which is who they bank with. And yes, we could see that they are paying that $3,000 a month. And yes, they are paying on the 3rd. And yes, I could see that $5,000 twice a month from Qualcomm, from Sarah Joe. And so we can see all their back end stuff from their bank statements to confirm everything else that we've collected. It's a huge peace of mind. I am like you. I'm a landlord. I'm a property manager. I eat, breathe, live real estate. And I have 6 different property management companies that manage 6 different of my assets, even though I own a property management company, because I like peace of mind. I want somebody that goes by the property. I want somebody that is looking at their credit reports and making sure that, yes, this does meet the screen criteria. So in my personal opinion, popular opinion or not, I highly recommend that you hire a property management company to screen the applicants, to place the applicants, because they know what they're doing. At that point, you could self-manage, but I just highly recommend that you have somebody that goes deep in, screens the applicants thoroughly, because I'd rather have a vacant property any day, because it costs me a lot less money than having somebody take advantage of my property, destroy my property, not pay rent, be kicked out in 6 months, because we only have one courthouse in San Diego that does evictions right now. That's 6 months out. We used to have 3. We used to have 6. Now we have 1 with 1 judge. So it's just not cool. So careful screening is essential. Peace of mind is essential. Let's keep your asset an asset, not a liability.